Careful. Audio issue.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Sorry for the delay. Um, Today we have a one-game series of Valpo Esports League of Legends team versus the HCC Dragons. My name is Dikembe. I'm here with my co-host,
I'm Dreadful.
Keloids?
and we're looking for just a one quick game today. Should be a good matchup right now with the OPs that we've pulled up right now. Draft-wise, what we're looking for is there may be a Talia contest. We have Senna contested. So overall, we're looking for a couple of meta picks going on here. If I had to ask, what do you guys think would be the first pick of Valpo Esports being on blue side?
So I'd say it's either gonna be Talia or it's gonna be Senna, without a doubt.
Yeah, if the Talia gets through, it's 100% going to be that first pick, Talia on Jakimbo. If not, you're going to look towards that Senna. That's also contested by both teams. Um, yeah, the Senna very very good in the meta right now. With the pairing of Tom Kench, and then yeah, Talia is just very strong right now, also in the meta. But seems like there's like 100% ban rate, right? Or like very high ban rate for Talia
Yeah, I don't
right
think,
now.
and we're starting into draft. We'll be opening it with the Valpo Esports first ban. Go back. All right. I'm curious what they're trying to get rid of here. I didn't I wasn't in the conversation. Normally I stick around for the banning conversation, but
They look like they're going to go with the Graves, so they may be looking to just shut down the jungle
yeah.
this whole game. So we'll see if they come out with a second ban against maybe their top laner, or if they just double ban jungle right off the bat.
I could see an Aatrox ban pretty solid to this team. However, I know Anaya's been kind of practicing the Fiora, so we could be seeing the Aatrox as a bait pick.
The
And it looks like,
Maokai.
yep, the HCC Dragons have knocked out Maokai from Vector. So that kind of utility and support that Maokai is bringing, especially with that new patch, is insane. So honestly, it's a great ban. And it looks like, as we said, they're going to lock out their jungles today. We have a Graves and a Zac ban.
Yeah, generally two champions that our team generally has a interesting time playing against.
There's
The
that Fiora
Fiora
that you
and
were talking about for Anaya. Very strong pick with the side lanes. She does a ton of damage and heals a ton. Very strong pick. Uh, it's gonna hurt
oh,
to
they
see.
don't ban Aatrox. I see.
It looks like we're going with the Seraphine ban.
Yeah.
And now with Valpo Esports, that puts them in a very weird position here because if they go with the first pick Talia, if HCC Dragons doesn't ban it here, that's going to leave HCC to pick up that Senna, so which may lead to a Tom Kench contest.
Now I do think if ACC does end up banning Senna or Talia, that's putting them at a disadvantage. So they definitely shouldn't ban one
They
of those.
banned
They
the
banned the
Cassid
Kassadin.
Kassadin.
first pick Talia here. It's
It may
I
be
can
first pick
almost
Talia, and
guarantee.
there it
Yeah.
is.
All right.
Yep. We know that
Jakimbo on the Talia.
MF Chikimbo is very comfortable in this Talia pick. So we're gonna see him come alive this game, really, especially with that roam potential that her R gives, and just the scaling damage that she slowly moves through the game with. It's gonna be fun.
This is definitely trying to turn into his signature pick of this year.
Hmm.
We'll have to see how he gets to play. I think this is his first game getting it besides one match we played.
And the HCC start off with an Udyr pick. Now, we'll have to wait for a little bit to see if that Udyr pick is a top pick or is it a jungle pick.
Yeah,
It's,
with this new rework, it's really strong on either side.
it's
Yep.
gonna be really interesting if they don't pick Senna here because then Valpo can just take Senna Tom Kench on 3 or 2-3, which would kind of just give them everything they really want in top or in mid in that bot lane.
And you see many
And
They
they
times
picked
picked the
the Swain.
the
Swain.
Swain pick.
It's very interesting to pick the Swain here on 2 instead of waiting for that third counter
Yeah,
pick.
that was definitely a misplay.
Yeah, you definitely can wait for that counter pick on the third. You should definitely look to probably pick up the Senna. Yeah, here
And
comes the
there's the
Senna.
Valpo Senna. Yep.
And then I wouldn't be surprised if you just get the Tom Kench
Oh
right
yeah,
here. Yeah,
without doubt.
yeah.
Yep. And there's the bot lane pick out. And it
Now,
looks like
Oh, they're
now.
thinking about it. They're thinking about it.
now the HCC Dragons, they're in a really weird spot where they want to go with their draft. Do they want to? They have to probably pick an ADC here, or else it's not gonna. Really don't want them to fall down and be that 3 or that 4 or 5 bands, to where you're limiting your pool even more.
I could also see them if the Udyr goes top lane, trying to lock in a jungler before the pool gets pinched in even more.
That is true.
And now looking past this pick as well, who do you think Valpo Esports if oh,
There's
Oh,
so
the
we see a
Pike
pike.
I'm pretty
and
sure.
the
So we
insta.
have a pike
Oh,
and
it
You
an
was
should
inst
check the
no.
lobby. That was. I think that was
yeah,
a
That I think
timeout.
that was a I think that was a Zyra pick. I think that was a Zyra
it
pick.
might have
Pick was Zyra.
pick
All
Yeah,
was
right.
pick
Zyra.
was
So they
Yep.
tried
wait.
to counter pick the Tom Kench with the
Let's see
Zyra.
what the ban is because they were just about to say what the ban is. The ban is
Ban is
Rumble,
Rumble. All right.
Rumble.
Yeah.
which
So they are
Oh,
wait
the
they think
ban
the
Talia's jungle.
they think
They
Talia's
they
jungle.
think
oh
Talia's jungle. Wow. Oh,
Okay.
oh, and another
I
ban.
Okay, and a
and we
classic
have a
chase no ban.
Oh,
a
You see one of
classic
those.
Valport Esports go into the chat to look
in
at the
the
ban,
Aatrox
and
ban.
it's an
Aatrox
That
ban.
Aatrox
that's a
ban.
really smart ban because most of Anaya's champion pool is definitely hindered by the Aatrox.
Hmm.
But hopefully um okay,
And
and
we
There's
it's
see
that
a
Dr.
Mundo
Mundo
ban.
targeting Anaya
Yep.
again.
yeah.
Really strong on that
So
Mundo.
it looks like they're trying to give their top advantage in this fight here by banning out two of Anaya's picks going into these last two drafts.
I could see them running it out with another top ban, or maybe getting rid of one of the ADCs. That would go really well with the Zyra. Historically, that's been Jin and Ash.
We'll just have to see here.
That is the
It's a Scion
Scion
ban,
Yeah,
ban.
so they went with the top bans. They were going picking it right back. If they were gonna ban two of Anaya's, we were gonna ban two of their tops.
yeah,
It's going to
and
be interesting what they want to counterpick here, top or jungle. Uh, where that Udyr is really going too.
I think it'd definitely be smarter of HCC Dragons to go ahead and pick their ADC here
Yeah.
and to save the Udyr flex.
And
Okay,
there's
they're
the
gonna go with
Sivir.
that Sivir. She's not as strong as she used to be after her nerf. She's not as strong as she used to be, but she is still pretty strong.
Yeah, she's still pretty dominant in the meta for sure.
Especially that spell shield going against Tom Kench's engage with the
Yeah.
underwater dive. That's huge in stopping a frontline battle.
Talia as well with the shove. Yeah,
Yep. And we're
this
going with
Nunu.
Vector's Nunu. So what's special about Vector's Nunu is that he's very active on the map. So we're definitely going to see a lot of mid ganks coming in here. We're going to see a lot of movement going around. So really it's up to HCC Dragons on how they're going to react to Vector being around the map.
Garen potentially in the Udyr, otherwise blind.
Hmm.
I could,
And Anaya's pretty comfortable on Garen. Garen's a very like general character.
yeah,
There's a couple of things. He has that true damage ultimate that's very, very helpful,
yeah.
especially when picking off people in team fights.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
Mordekaiser's
Contrary
Really
coming
to
looks
out.
like there's
popular
a
belief,
Mordekaiser.
Garen is an incredible scaling champion at this stage in the game. He
Hmm.
just struggles with mobility, but that should be helped with the amount of pick that they've got onto the Asana Tom and
Yep.
Nunu.
That Mordekaiser last pick, really going for um that bruiser that they're looking for. Um, looking to with that Mordekaiser ult. Who do you think they want to ult like target with that ult?
Now, personally, I would be either ulting out. So you have a couple options here. The Garen, just to get rid of the Garen.
Yeah,
You could either ult the Nunu when the Nunu's engaging, and that gets rid of one of the major frontliners. Or if you get a flank off and you get the ult off on the Tom Kench, you can get rid of that peel that we've got
yeah,
on the side. I'm interested to see how Anaya plays this lane because this is a very snowbally lane, and if it'll go one way or the other depending on who kind of plays it better.
And just as an overall look, especially to the picks and bans that we just had in this draft, the HCC Dragons are very AP heavy.
Oh yeah,
They have
yeah,
4 AP characters, especially if they're running that Udyr jungle.
we have
So,
three tanks who can all run Force of Nature.
mhm.
yeah.
So it's going to be a very very tanky matchup coming into this game. It's going to be whoever gets scaled first.
I mean that's what Senna wants in a team fight,
Yeah.
Hmm.
being able to sit back and front the back, heal up her allies.
Yep.
Think if I'm Valpo, I'm a lot happier with draft than I am
Oh yeah.
the Dragons. You just you have a lot more of a win con than you do as the Dragons, but they still do have a win con. Um, okay, they banned the Camille. That's
I think they're just
yeah,
banning random
they're just
champions.
banning. Yeah, but the Zyra is really interesting. Is a really interesting
Oh, and
support. Okay,
mispicked.
well
They
that was
she thought
supposed to
she was
be a
still
ban.
banning. Oh well. Well,
Okay,
they're gonna
well
restart
a
draft. Try to
lot.
And
bring
it
up
looks
the.
like it's going to be a restart.
Yeah, I apologize. It happens.
Yeah. Oh, oh,
These things happen. Just a little bit of technical difficulties. Obviously, our last game that went on too, we had a couple of a couple of players disconnect. So
yeah.
it's all fun and games. But no,
Well, hopefully no pauses this time.
No,
hopefully.
no 10-minute pauses where we're switching computers and mouse
I mean, we don't know.
mice.
We have Thonk instead of Ordinal, so the mouse might work this
The
time, which
mouse.
is nice. So we'll have to see it. But going into this game, I would say, what matchups do you think lane-wise are favored towards Valpo? So remember, we have a Garen Mordekaiser, we have a Nunu Udyr, we have a Talia Swain.
Now, I definitely am of the opinion that Talia is the one of the premier counter picks to Swain at this current moment in time. And with MF Kimbo being so comfortable on the pick, I think by far this mid lane is going to swing towards him being that standout player that he is. I'm interested to see how the bot lane matchup goes because Senna Tom Catch has an incredible amount of sustain. However, they are against a Zyra Sivir, which is pretty poke heavy.
Hmm.
And Zyra historically is countering those slower, beefier supports. So we'll see have to see how that goes. It might be a little hard for him to CS
Yeah,
in the lane, but he should be able to make up for it.
And I have to ask, because we were talking to Steamroller earlier in the game, and he said that with Tom Kench lane, it's especially prevalent that early game, you're not really jumping in much. You're
No,
really sitting in lane, you're trying to get a CS advantage. So with this poke from Zira and Sivir, I have to wonder, like, how is that going to change their game plan coming into this game?
I think they'll have to be playing much more passively, and I think if he doesn't take D Shield's second wind in his runes and items to start off, I think that'd be a pretty big blunder.
Hmm,
I think with that sustain though that's added through those runes, he should be fine. But
okay. But no, later on in the game, I have to see, like, because obviously, we talk about early game, we talk about early like pressuring lanes, pushing in lanes, and getting those objectives. But you have to wonder later in the game. I mean, we know how viable Tom Kench is,
oh yeah,
so it's gonna be up to HCC Dragons on this one to get a big enough lead that they can just steamroll over it.
I think they're definitely at a time. They have a time limit on their comp. They get outranged pretty heavily by Valpo in the team fights. So it's gonna be really hard for them to navigate. So overall, I think this draft was definitely a massive W in the side of Valpo.
yeah. But if I've learned one thing from playing top lane a little bit, never underestimate a Mordekaiser.
No,
Yep,
That
that
man,
Mordekaiser is dangerous.
you have
he
to.
is dangerous. He
Oh yeah,
scales and he does a lot more damage and tanks a lot more than you think he should. He especially when he has that isolation on his Q, um, does a ton of damage. Um, but I think I think just Valpo just has a lot better engage with the Nunu and the Talia. But I think where the game will start to turn for Valpo is when the Talia hits level 9. The Talia really starts to get activated and really starts getting scary. You know.
Getting
I,
that
th-
max rank on our Q is a big power spike for.
I think what Valpo has to be careful of though this game is that you notice these matchups that they have, dueling is in HCC favor, right? Because you don't want to take a Nunu into an Udyr matchup like
Oh
going
no.
into a dueling jungle, right? Mordekaiser has that early duel potential with his AP damage, right? Especially going into Garen. Um, and then I can't really. I mean, with Talia, obviously we've spoken about Talia being favored, but and then this early game dueling in bot lane should be favored towards Sivir and Zera. So honestly, it's going to be a matter of positioning that Valpo uses these drafts because the draft is in their favor, but if they're going to get caught out this game, it's not going to end well.
No, not at all. We'll have to look at our two junglers in this match to see how they impact the map and how they go about their first clear and ganking.
Yep. So we do know that Vector loves to early gank.
Oh
We know that
Yeah.
whenever he plays Nunu, that level 2 mid gank is coming. Especially with Swain not having much movement and Talia being
not at
able to
all.
jump forward quickly. If Talia can hit at least 2 before Nunu arrives in lane,
Oh yeah.
that could be an early flash maybe out of Swain, an early ghost, depending on the summoner spells that are right. Or if he just doesn't want to blow it, an early kill.
I could definitely see him getting caught off guard with the Talia shove early into Nunu snowball, and at that point it's too late.
Mhm.
Yeah, this Sivir is gonna get this push early, but she is gonna be a big factor for how the Dragons really like function late game. If she can stay alive and get off that Sivir damage late game with her Qs and her Ws and just keep poking, she's gonna be really dangerous. It will be like Valpo really has to find a way to get that back line to get to her so she's not like just shredding her,
Mhm.
shredding them without doing any damage. I think
And
that's
I
really what you're looking for late game team fights.
and I feel like that's going to be reliant a lot on this Talia.
Yeah.
With being able to art back to line, cutting off people from teams, right? There's a lot of different placements that you can use Talia R in order to isolate that Sivir, that Zera, and even like an Udyr to an extent, like maybe on a W phase, right?
Hmm.
That kind of zoning that Talia gives, especially like when going for objectives, is huge, and I think that's going to play a big part into whether Valpo Esports can hold off the pressure of that bot lane.
Yeah, besides movement speed buffs on the side of HCC Dragons, they have no mobility whatsoever.
Hmm.
So I mean, you can't spell shield terrain. So
Yep.
we'll see how that Talia impacts the team fights. I'm gonna have to agree with chat here. I think if I don't see at least three Force of Natures this game, I'm gonna have a fit.
Yeah, this is a
It's
really good force of nature angle for uh, the Garen, the Tom Kench, and the Nunu. Really,
Mhm.
just because, like we said, that Mordekaiser damage, the Udyr does magic damage, that Swain, and the Zyra, just a lot of magic damage um, from the dragons.
I know.
Now, I haven't played with Anaya, as we are both the two top laners on the team. What does she normally build on Garen?
Um, I'm not sure. I don't know if she goes Trinity Force or if she goes Stride Breaker.
Mhm.
With how I don't know if Stride Breaker is really that good into this team comp that they're going
Yeah.
into because um, just a lot of like with the Sivir, the Zyra, the Swain, it's really going to be hard to like get on them and make effective use. So maybe the Trinity Force is going to come out here.
Mhm.
Um, that's probably what I would think might be the best.
And getting up in this game as well, I know Anaya is not what's called objected to building a Deadsman's plate and getting an early buff, getting that move speed. Because you were talking about Garen lacking in that kind of move speed angle when it
Yeah.
comes to moving around in fights and getting in different objectives. So I know that she's not prone to that, but with the HCC draft,
I
that
think the
armor
amount of
that
magic damage
yeah,
on the
that
team
armor that
will
Desmond's
do
plate is
nothing.
just going to be lost on.
Yeah. So we're loading into game here. I guess my one question would be, what is our? Oh, we have the ghost. Okay. I guess it'd be let's take a little wager. When's gonna be first blood?
First blood, I think it's gonna be a level 2 Nunu gank mid. Uh, it just Nunu loves the level 2 gank, and Nolan loves it even more. Um, Especially getting ahead the uh, the Talia.
The little eye at the bottom.
Yeah, there's an eye at the bottom, and then
Time
time control.
controls.
Yeah, click time controls, and then hit objective timers right there, and then just hit the eye again. There we go.
All right.
Yeah, so it's looked like Siver's going with the long sword and 3 pots instead of the
Interesting.
Dorn blade.
Yeah.
Again, it's must be that poke that she's looking for, because taking that damage item early in that game, it's going to give her a little bit more pressure going into lane.
Yeah, definitely. Traditionally, the longsword 3 pot has been taken in matchups where you don't have to worry about an all-in, so you don't need the extra HP that the Doran's Blade gives you. It also lets you scale better into your item, and you have those 3 pots instead of 1 pot for sustain. So we'll have to see how if they can take advantage of the lack of health. Just a standard 5 point start this game. Although I believe Mordekaiser was able to see the Nunu on the map, so they know the starting top side at least.
Yeah, you're also gonna see the junglers are starting on opposite sides of the map, so they're each gonna be pathing different ways. Both starting on their blues. Yeah, we see this level 2 gank already with the Nunu coming down mid
Oh,
with
he's
the
coming.
snowball.
Now Talia isn't level 2, so the best they could probably look for is getting sums, but
It looks like here comes the snowball launch on the
no,
Well,
and he
Swain.
just takes the
yeah,
damage. That is
good.
a huge, huge, huge swing. Talia now has kill pressure as soon as she hits level 3, with her taking her field level 2.
Yeah, we just expected it right away with that level 2 gank, and he did it. Maybe I think if Talia had that level 2, that's a kill there. A little bit unfortunate. Um,
Mordekaiser getting the early push into top lane. Sadly, our Vector is not on the top side of the map to punish, but looks like he's clearing out his camps. Maybe looking for a repeat.
And we're seeing now already MF Chikimbo using that Talia zoning to take that early lead that Vector gave him in lane and just keep Swain away. That whole pressure that she has, especially with just her early abilities, is insane.
Now, tragically, the scoreboard is bugged and we're not seeing any CS, but uh,
yeah, we're not seeing
we'll
any.
have to check from time to time. You can't fix that. We'll have to check their gold values from time to time to see how they are stacking up. On the new gank top lane,
So you got a nice hit here, got the flash out of the Mordekaiser, but here comes the Udyr as the
ooh,
counter
and they're
gank, and it looks
counter
like they're going
ganking
to turn this.
both
The
Udyr
ghost
and
out
Mord.
of the Udyr as
Uh-oh.
well.
Both Udyr and
We got a
Mordekaiser are
stun
low.
and a silence. And it looks like this may be winning
One
towards
auto?
Valpo Esports. And the first blood goes to Nunu
They're looking
off
to
the
turn here.
snowball.
Huge. It's a very big turnaround, especially for top lane being the snowbally role that it is.
Yeah,
That
bit of an overchase from the Mordekaiser and Udyr. I think they should have backed off once they started backing off and just taking the win. But now Mordekaiser gives away first blood and has to use that TP. Uh, Also, Udyr uses Ghost, so um, that is 3 sums actually. 3 sums now down for the
it looks like now is posturing to come gank this bot lane, but he must make a vision. As Valpo Esports' bot lane slowly backs up. Udyr looks like he's taking it back here.
The scary thing is the amount of that minion wave
You
pushing
see,
into
Nunu is building up a snowball looking for bot lane now. He has a counter, and here it comes. So pushing through, you'll see the bot lane start to move up, and the snowball comes like a minion. Whether or not it had gotten through, Sivir did still have spell shield up. So we're not sure if that gank would have gone through either way, but that pressure is going to reset that lane for them.
top, just getting the wave in. And that bottom wave, that's gonna push into Valpo, and they're gonna be able to freeze that for as long as they want.
Yeah, and then you see the TP advantage that Garen had now being able to back, and we can't see it, but probably a lot better buy than what that Mordekaiser had when he TP back. So the Garen right now should be pretty far ahead, sizable lead. But
It's like a root and a step up. The ignite and the exhaust on the Senna, the flash from the Sivir to secure the kill.
Tom Kench can.
And it looks like Tom Kench is taking some damage as well here too.
And he's
The knock up
rooted.
and
If he
shield.
hits that W, that Zyra is a dead man.
that was that early poke that you're talking about from the Sivir Zyra. Just a little bit more than I think that the Senna really realized, and then the exhaust comes down on the Senna, so it doesn't really help.
And you'll see it's just a bad position for bot lane there, as Tom Kench was out of mana. Knowing that was out of mana, the Senna getting caught out of place with the zero root was just too dangerous, as Tom Kench could not match it.
And it looks like they weren't able to use their exhaust either. We have another gank top lane.
It looks like here
Ah,
comes a snowball again, but Mordekaiser walks back into it.
Mordekaiser ended up ulting.
Oh, but they
Garen?
don't kill him.
He looks like
Not
no,
yet,
he's
at
one
least.
auto.
There goes down the kill. This Udyr looks like he's in
Udyr's
trouble.
retreating back.
Yeah.
Gets out. Talia made the roam up top lane for that. So kind of just hovering now in topside river.
We'll get to see their golden mounts. Don't talk all that. Ah, it's bugged. Never mind. I was gonna try to look at the amount of gold in the team, but it appears that the gold is bugged as well with that scoreboard.
If you hit scoreboard, see if it works. Just hit tab. See if that changes it. No, hit. Okay.
Oh,
There it is.
Oh, I think it's back.
Yeah, so if you go back to the eye, there's a score.
There we go.
There
And
we are.
Get the
And now it's
CRCS scoreboard finally.
So CS is about even top lane, but there's the
But
Garen does have Merc treads and that what is it called?
Sheen.
Sheen.
So she is building either Triforce or Divine Thunder. Now you were earlier saying Triforce. Now I'm gonna raise you the question of I think it's probably gonna be a Divine Thunder with the amount of beefy frontliners that the other team has.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea here, especially with the Mordekaiser and
We have an
Udyr.
Udyr gank on the bot lane. A little bit of CC going out. Seems to be a trade here.
Couldn't
Oh,
hear
we
you.
have a fight breaking out. Is Swain ulti? Nunu's channeling his ult. Get a little poke down, and it looks like both teams are just going to disengage without drawing any blood.
Yeah, that Nunu ult didn't really hit on anybody, but Jakimbo on the Talia,
Hitting the Talia.
forcing the smite out of the Udyr early on the dragon, very low health. That's why he's so good on the Talia. Putting down that damage, not even level 9 yet when
Oh, the
you really
Ocean
start to see.
Dragon.
Here comes on the
Comes a
wall.
gank and the R from the Talia.
Beautiful map. Just honestly, just beautiful map plays from Valpo this time. Having that heads-up awareness to recognize to be able to go for those plays is key.
Man, that Mordekaiser passive hurts so much, that burn. You trying to run away after dealing a trade, you think you won, and then that passive just comes back and you take a little bit of the loss there.
Yeah, you normally usually get an extra auto or two off because of the movement speed that the passive brings in as well. Now we got a small CS lead to
Zoom in a little bit.
Now we got a small CS lead building bot lane between the Tom Kench and then
That's
but it's about equaled out with the bit of CS lead that the Udyr has on the Nunu, which is, you know, to be expected. The important thing to remember is that the Senna's generating that extra gold with her passive this entire time.
And it looks like the Udyr and Swain right now are on that Rift Herald. They're
That
looking for an early take while Nunu is clearing camps.
That is really big because you get the exhaust out of the Sivir onto that Tom Kench and you don't even get the kill for it. This Udyr might be in trouble here. See how both mid laners and top laners are looking at responding. Oh, but that damage from Talia onto that Swain, it hurts so much.
Oh, and that empowered Q is barely missing. Looks like both teams are trying to posture around the Rift Herald. Oh, and you know, it appears that the Dragons already got it in that time.
Yeah, gonna be interesting where he decides to drop it. If he wants to drop it towards his bot lane, or if he wants to open up the map mid lane to try to help this Swain out. I think they should probably try to look bot lane for it to try to help this Sivir out and give Sivir as much gold as possible. Because right now she is your late game win con with how much damage she does do late game.
And we got to see there just the amount of stacks that are slowly but surely building up on Thong Senpai, and he's just getting more and more range and more damage off those pokes.
Yeah, if you want to hit R
We'll
on the
see.
or
It looks like
four,
Nunu
four,
is
four,
taking
four,
an early walk
yeah, if you want to see
into
4,
the
he
red
does have
side
24
jungle.
stacks so
Just
far.
looking for a deep ward
25 stacks at 11 minutes. That
there. And
is
we have a
not bad at
Nunu
all.
snowball.
And that's spell shield down, so they're gonna be able to look for an engage.
Division down on Nunu in mid. We have another trade, just to call attention to this top lane a little bit. It seems that the trades are really going out on Anaya's just waiting for that Q cooldown to be off. That silence that she can get in. She runs in with the silence and the move speed that she's given. Get a shot up, and we have a knock up in top lane by Vector. We're going to see if he gets the root off here. He gets the root, but it's not going to end much.
Walking into the Swain is Talia. Swain's popping the ult.
Fight.
He's
We
gotta
have
be
an
really careful
exhaust
here.
coming out mid lane as well.
Oh, and he
The
caught!
flash with the root and the
Oh.
kill from Swain.
But we
See,
have
here
the Nunu
comes
coming
Nunu.
in.
This
The
may be the
Swain
Oh, the
is done. He
juice!
missed
Swain
the
moves
snowball.
around it.
Pops a
Oh,
pops a ghost. Wasn't enough movement speed to get out of that. Nice ult from the Senna to help the Nunu there.
That's really just that map awareness that you have to have right there, with that Senna throwing that ult across map.
Yeah, good retaliation by the Nunu to get something out of that. We're gonna see.
It looks like we got a little meeting here in blue side jungle, and Uda's just gonna take the blast cone and get out.
Yeah, with both mid laners now having their core item, it's gonna be interesting to see how the trades play out from now on. Obviously, the walking into a Swain out of Fog of War is pretty hard to avoid death there. So we'll have to see how Jakimbo is a little bit more careful. Now, one thing I did want to bring attention to is the fact that Anaya opting out of Conquer and ended up going into Grass, which I think is really smart because she doesn't want to take any extended trades with the Mordekaiser. So being able to just proc Grasp and run away is benefiting her.
Now, Mountain is coming up in 5 seconds. I think it's pretty good for both teams having it. If you're Valpo, you kind of want to start your Dragon Snowball. That never hurts, but looks like
Looks like both teams are going to be collapsing down on this bot side. We have the Zera R with a huge knockup going in with the Udyr.
Savers, I said she has to flash out.
The sustain is just huge.
We have Talia poking from the side. Oh, we have the Swain ulti, but
Big root.
he's going down
Zero Root
fast.
on the left side. The Swain R seems to be dying out a little bit as it's only hitting the Tom Kench. And MF Jacimbo using Talia's range to chip off 2 of them there. With the R going back in to cut off this Udyr from escape. And this might be a triple here for...
And that is why you do not give Jacimbo his Talia. Absolutely deadly on it. Picking up 2 kills and an assist right there.
And that was a great turn by Vector as well. Turning that 4v3 from that crunch by Udyr and Swain in the mid lane from their bot laners as well into a 4v4 coming from that backside. Especially with them burning their summons like Exhaust and different things on the Senna. That allowed them to have
No, it's fine.
the damage.
Oh, sorry.
We're good.
I know that was a masterful team fight by the Talia, just weaving in and out. Being able to separate the team like that is huge in any front of back skirmishes.
Looks
Yeah,
like he's going for a couple of trades here, but seems that he's out of mana, so we're not looking for much here from the Talia mid.
Jacimbo's backing here. He's gonna have a huge buy on his back. Let's see what he gets.
It seems that we're having a bit of a collapse coming down here into that.
Looks
bot
like
lane.
the map has the
Go ahead and press
Scoreboard
tab
has-
twice again. I think there we go, and we do see, yeah, for whatever reason the scoreboard is bugged and it does not update after the items, so until we cycle it. But we do see the Divine Sunder on the top lane and the matching the Rift Breaker as normal. And then Talia's got that needlessly large rod, so either going for a Shadow Flame or early Rabadon's purchase.
Based on how tanky I think this actual like HCC Dragons team is, it would make sense that he's going for that Shadow Flame second item. Trying to get that magic pen out of it.
Yeah. The fact that 2 of them already have shields on the Udyr and the Mordekaiser is also a nice little added boon.
mid tower's pretty low right now. Might look to drop the Herald there to get that tower down and kind of open up the map for Valpo. Have a little bit more wiggle room. Oh,
And the big root and R coming from the Zera, but the Senna ult across map gives them the shield to re-engage here. Swain R pops out, but MF Jacimbo's chipping away again. And it looks like this bot side as well is taking advantage of that Zera being mid and 2v1ing in that bot lane to kill that Sivir.
And just a lot of map plays going on all at once. Being able to win the fight both mid lane and diving bot lane is huge for Valpo. They cemented themselves a nice 5.4k gold lead.
Let's see, we have Talia with another back here. And we're going to have to see another double kill there. And it looks like she is going for that Hextech Alternator. So we might see an early Shadow Flame here. Rift Herald in bot lane. And we'll get 1 charge off. That's still a huge charge. Getting a nice little advantage going into that bot lane tower destruction.
yeah. Now we're like at the point of the game where we're kind of just waiting for this Infernal Dragon to spawn up in the next 2 minutes, and Baron spawns up around the next time, about the same time. So really, that's when the next big fight. You really don't want to give Soul Point up this early into the game if you are Dragon. So I'm guessing there's going to be a pretty big fight there for that Dragon.
It seems like because bot tower on red side lost, they're going to be swapping lanes, come into that mid lane. Looking around for a little bit more objective play.
And with Dragon up in a minute 10, I find it really weird that Mordekaiser just uses TP to go back top lane. The Garen's using it too.
You know, that kind of sounds to me that they aren't even trying to get that. They're just not even going to contest the drag. Now they do end up getting the Senna's flash out, which is huge. But the Tom Kench is right there. If any other threats kind of approach them to eat her up and get her out of there.
Yeah, seems like both teams really aren't interested in setting up for Dragon right
Udyr's on
now.
the side looking. Oh,
We
and
got an
Udyr's coming
engage here
around
coming from
onto the
Tom Kench.
Senna.
The flash from Zera, but the Udyr comes in and crunches him. Looks like Senna is going to get eaten by Tom Kench and knocked back, and here comes the counter gank coming from Vector
It's
on the
Talia
Nunu.
behind.
The Senna coming
Here
through,
comes
MF
that
Akimbo
Talia.
R'ing in as well. The smite on the Zera to chase down. And now focusing the Udyr as they're chasing him back. Swain just too late to the fight on that one.
Well, I guess you don't have to set up for Dragon if you just kill their bot lane first, and you can just get a free Dragon. It was looking really good for Dragons at the start of the fight, but then they just couldn't hold on with the reinforcements of Valpo coming up. Looking like a free fight for them.
And like we said earlier this game, this draft that Valpo has is great if they have that timing for it. And you see Vector's timing, Talia's timing, everybody's been on point when it comes to the counter ganks. We've had a couple of flashes, a couple of get outs, but outside of that, we've just had overall like help coming in from each angle, and it's been stomping these team fights.
I have to commend Tom Kench though. That was an incredibly important beat onto the Senna. She was completely dead, if he was not able to get that off. So that's a really big ult on his part. We see top lane, just slowly but surely getting more and more ahead in farm, and starting to be able to poke the Mordekaiser down. You get to see all of Valpo's CS leads, or the once HCC Dragon leads, are slowly diminishing, and the Valpo leads are just growing by the minute. I'm interested to see what the Dragons have to offer in any of these team fights, because the game feels as if it's almost slipped away from them already.
Yeah, and this gold lead is getting really out of hand for this early on. If they don't turn it around soon, with a 7.4k gold lead for Valpo, that is really scary. Once you start hitting to that 10k mark gold difference, there's really no coming back for you. It's very unlikely. But they
It
do
looks like we
go
have
for
a
the
gank coming
Anaya.
in.
She flashes out.
That bull stance from Udyr, very dangerous, especially getting caught out in lane. So that little getaway there is very clutch. Udyr's gonna have to reset, but it looks like he may be waiting.
Oh, and the Talia hitting that incredible W stun. Just the amount
Oh,
of
that
poke that this
powered
team
Q.
has. Oh, and the clips on the very side of the Senna ult. Just the amount of poke that they have between those two champions is incredible.
Especially going into that Swain in that bot lane. That matchup is not helpful, because especially Swain's best ability, his R, needs to be close. That Senna and that Talia are just going to constantly play that zoning game against him, using their abilities, trying to get away from him.
Due to the limited CC and mobility on the side of the HCC Dragons, the only option for Swain is just to walk straight at him, and that's just not going to go very well, as we've kind of seen in this game.
Yeah, this gold lead is really starting to get out of hand now. Valpo really just has free reign on the map to do whatever they want. They can get all the vision control they ever want, and surprisingly, I mean, they haven't really needed it, but we only have one Spirit Visage, no Force of Nature, but I don't
Forces
think
of
that.
nature. Interesting that the Tom Kench has the Frozen Heart though. Oh, we got a little dancing top
So
lane.
Naya's getting a little boogie on as the Nunu ball comes up. Looks
I
like
gotta
it's
be
going to be a
really
3v2
careful.
with the tower attacking.
Interesting, and the Mordekaiser doesn't ult any of them out of tower. Now that is one of the things. Trying to fight a Mordekaiser under tower is always
Oh,
Really
there it
harsh.
goes. They're all on the Nunu.
Dive, and there comes the CC immune Udyr
Interesting.
launching in.
Yeah,
It's
that
like the
was a
1v1 going on.
Oh, that alt damage from Garen almost one-shotting that Mordekaiser.
Saw as well the exhaust coming out from Talia on that Mordekaiser.
yeah. I'm just kind of stunned how he didn't. Oh, he got the
It looks
Talia
like we
ult
have a
coming
pop.
in, and those
They're
two.
coming in, a little 2v1 going on. Zera R
Ah,
comes out, but she's exhausted. So it looks like
the
that won't turn into much except for a little bit of lane pressure.
and the angle on the Talia's Q is just slightly off by a couple of degrees, missing out on the potential double kill there.
Yeah, we have Soul Point here in 30 seconds for Valpo. That is really big, and with Soul Point, I just don't think there's any way you can lose, especially with an Infernal on this Senna and this Talia, just so much damage, and really just not tanky enough for Dragons.
We're just getting to a dangerous point in the game now where you start getting those soul points active. You have a 5-1 Talia, 5-0 Nunu. And it looks like we're about to see that in action right now as Nunu engages on the Mordekaiser. And a massive knockback by Talia, the R by Senna. A couple of roots and pulls in. And they jump back on the Mordekaiser. Swain is forced to run away, but is bumped back by the Talia. The flash into the team. Anaya with the R to finish it off, and the Udyr running away, but caught by Senna. And that will set them up for that another drag. This is their sole point.
And there's that 10k gold lead. Yeah, this is just looking very, very grim for Dragons. Just with the soul now, just so much damage. Now Valpo should just be going over to that Baron
You know,
and collecting it.
there's a saying, it's never over till it's over, but it's looking kind of grim here for HCC Dragons. What I'm interested in now is, what do you think their plan of attack is after this Baron is taken and getting back in this game?
I think if they can the Sivir has just hit 2 items, though she still needs her Berserker Greaves, but if she can potentially scale up into the 3 item point, potentially they have an ability to turn team fights with that late game scaling champion, but I find it really hard to believe, especially with the Tahm Kench indexing into the armor instead of the MR. But it looks like he's building that Force of Nature right now. Now, crucially, in that last team fight, the Mordekaiser didn't have his ult back up from the previous fight, so he couldn't ult the Nunu, who's charged almost a full-length ultimate onto the enemy team.
And we're just having a little dance party between Senna and our Nunu, trying to get those stacks up on that Senna.
It looks like that Tahm Kench is the only one listening to you and is probably going to be the only one that builds Force of Nature.
Well,
Everybody else going for Spirit Visage
see that
instead.
Senna has 97 stacks at this moment.
97
So-
stacks at 27 minutes. That is a great Senna game. I would love to be in her shoes.
You see, that's one of the things that Thunk Senpai does really well, is that kind of min-maxing of Senna, where it's in times that she needs to be in fights, she's in fights. If not, she's following around, she's grabbing souls from other people, she's leeching almost, but all that strength that she's gaining, she brings into that next fight.
We'll have to see how the rest of this game is going to develop. It appears that yeah, and all the lanes, they have all the lanes pushing, and it looks like they're making Talia just barely missing out. I think with that 1Q, probably half of Sivir's ult health would have gone by that. We'll have to see how they play it out. Yeah, this is just a really classy game from Valpo. Just really consistent and just slowly grinding down the enemy team. Nothing too flashy, but it doesn't have to be.
That
See, and
damage.
There's a chip. A nice chunk of Zera's health going away off of that small little Talia combo.
Yeah, I think an empowered Talia Q just outright kills both of the either the bot lanes of the Dragons.
Oh my
there's
goodness.
a shot.
I think this is prime example of why you don't give Jakimbo his Talia. Absolutely deadly on it.
It may have just been an OP, because, I mean, like we saw earlier this game, or early in the draft, they might have just thought it was Talia jungle. but really it was going to our mid laner.
Interesting.
And this game is pretty much over.
Yeah, the only person left up is Swain, and I don't think he can 1v5 this. It's looking like just Valpo are just gonna walk to the base, look for the final kill maybe. Yeah,
And
the
bump
Talia.
out and just to finish it off.
There's
There
the
goes the
ace,
Swain.
and there's the Nexus. Clean win for Valpo. 22-2 for kills. 16k gold lead.
Nice.
17k gold lead.
Game.
You saw just in that game those rotations into those team fights, those early ganks, the counter ganks that were coming from Nunu, all those kind of things accumulated into that kind of steamroll win.
Now, I
Yeah.
really want to see the Senna's and the Talia's damage charts. Though I will say, this draft, it was Valpo
Draft
got
Kingdom. Draft
Draft
King.
Kingdom
Draft
indeed.
Kingdom.
Valpo got everything that they were looking for in this game.
Oh, we got an interview
Oh,
from Star Nunu Jungler.
all
And
right. You
he's
got
got
Here,
the
Bag
I'll give.
lab
Bag
coat
I
on.
coming
Give
in.
him the
He's got the
mic.
lab
Give him
coat.
the mic. Let him sit down.
So,
So, I have to ask you, going into that game, what was your idea with ganking lanes? We saw that you ganked that early mid at level 2. Is that just your
Well,
signature
I
move?
yeah, but I know that Swain doesn't really have a way to get out early of a Nunu gank,
Mhm.
especially with MF Jakimbo going exhaust level 1. I don't know if he actually used it, but the plan was like, I'm just gonna roll my snowball in level 2. I'll have level advantage. He'll exhaust, and then hopefully we'll get a kill. We took out like 80% of his health though,
Yep.
which is the same thing.
And we saw later in that game too a couple of the fights where maybe it was, especially in that one dragon fight where Talia had moved down and Udyr was following, and we saw that you had come to counter gank. Was that more of just team communication?
Yeah, I would say our communication was really good. Itemization was actually really easy against him because like I had almost 240 MR at the end of that game, so I was taking 70% reduced magic damage from 4 AP champs on the enemy team.
Hmm.
Sivir wasn't really relevant,
Yep.
uh, so I was just not taking any damage. I can help out the team really easily.
Yep. Any overall notes you would say about that game? Anything that you felt stood out, maybe?
I thought the team played really well as a whole. Like our communication early was really good. We took some good fights, like first dragon. I thought that went really well. But yeah, good game all around.
That was great. Well, thank you for being here. It was fun to watch.
Yep.
Definitely fun to see the team working
Fun to
together.
play.
Yeah, fun to see you back on the Nunu, especially given
Yep.
MF Chikimbo that Talia as well.
Yep.
So overall, great game.
All
now
right.
what was you guys, real quickly before you go, what was your kind of, during draft, you guys got all your picks that you would ever
We were
want.
really surprised that they banned the way they did, because the Talia, I figured the strategy was we weren't going to ban Talia since we had first pick, and one of their players also plays Talia.
Yep.
So we figured it's either they use a ban on themselves or we get to pick Talia, and that's always a good thing. I thought the bans were a little weird that we saw, to be honest, but we just got to pick whatever we wanted, really.
That's great. So, well, thank you for being here. Thank you for giving us that little interview.
Yeah, no
It was
problem.
great to watch and great game. I mean, 5-0-12.
Yep.
That's nothing more you can ask, right?
Yep.
So,
All right, thank you.
of course.
Alright, peace. Now, that is just our one game we have left for tonight, I believe. Or that was the last game of tonight. Just
Yep.
um, quick little wrap up of the stream. But overall, I mean, you can see the damage dealt by the Talia was just off the walls.
And we really saw that snowballing mechanic that we really were waiting for with that MF Chikimbo Talia mid. We saw those early ganks that we were talking about, that aggressive play style that we had from that Nunu, and overall, just the team play was on par. The team play was showing out. So it's really great to see our players working together and being able to put that win.
Perfect game on paper. You couldn't have gone any better. Like
Yep.
that was
So
just the perfect game.
we
That
we, we want to thank you all for coming out to the stream. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for the support, and we wish you all a great night.
Night.